So there are only so many minutes in a day, and with so many conflicting demands and priorities, it can be hard to stay on top of your tasks and get things done without feeling completely overwhelmed. If you're like this and feel like a slave to your never-ending to-do list, following the Pareto Principle might just do the trick for you. The Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule, was conceived by Vilfredo Pareto, who noticed back in the early 1900s that 80% of Italy's land was owned by 20% of the country's population. In theory, the rule states that for any event, roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. So how can you apply Pareto's principle to improve your own life? Well, when you understand that the vast majority of your results are being driven by a small percentage of your efforts, you can pinpoint which efforts are driving the most results in your business and life, and then focus your energy on those things. Let's say, for example, you have a client roster that's a mile long, but after a little research, you realize that most of your revenue is coming in from just 5 clients. You could get more done and drive more revenue if you focused your time and energy on those 5 clients, instead of running yourself into the ground, trying to manage your massive client list and getting completely overwhelmed in the process. For many high achievers, handling every task that gets thrown their way, or even every task that they would like to handle, is impossible. They would use this principle to help determine what is of vital importance, and then they delegate the rest or simply let it go. So I want to talk about how you can use the 80-20 rule to be more efficient with your work and improve your own productivity. The first area where the Pareto Principle proves extremely useful is with regard to goal setting. These goals don't have to be about results, but rather more about what you want to accomplish and need to get done. So, for instance, if you set out to make a list of 10 items that you needed to complete, you then aim to choose the top 2 items that matter the most or have the biggest impact. Now, these don't have to be the most time-consuming items or even the ones that require the most amount of work. But if you can identify which of your immediate priorities would prove the most beneficial for you, you can then better allocate your time and energy. Crossing big items off your to-do list and down prioritizing less significant ones can also eliminate menial tasks altogether. If there are goals you need to accomplish that aren't considered urgent, over time you may find that you can remove them altogether because that item becomes pretty much redundant. Another great way to apply the Pareto Principle is with regard to how you prioritize and order your work. One of the main contributors to being unproductive is jumping from task to task or lack of focus on one item at a time. And with distractions all around you, it isn't too hard to lose your focus or struggle to enter a state of flow with your work. Take a look at what you need to accomplish on any given day. It could be that 20% of tasks need to be done in order for you to actually finish the remaining 80% of your tasks. If this is the case, make an effort to not jump from task to task, but focus and complete the first 20% so that you can actually spend less time and effort completing your subsequent to-dos. Your goal when using the Pareto Principle is twofold. Highlight your inefficiencies so that you can eliminate them, and highlight your strengths so that you can use them to create more value. Also, if you want a copy of my free productivity cheat sheet that has 15 of my favorite tips and techniques to help you work smarter instead of harder and improve your ability to reach a state of flow, the link for that is in the description below. It's totally free and I'm super excited to share it with you, so check that out. Now, once I started incorporating the 80-20 rule into my life, I found myself becoming less stressed because I wasn't overwhelmed with tasks that weren't producing any real results. Not to mention a higher level of engagement with my work by spending time on the things that really mattered. The good news is the Pareto Principle isn't set in stone, so it's possible to leverage it to your advantage and strive to be more productive. Don't get hung up on the 80-20 ratio, but rather focus on the understanding that not all effort and output will be equal. I'm going to leave you with a great quote from Tim Ferriss's excellent book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Doing less is not being lazy. Don't give in to a culture that values personal sacrifice over personal productivity. As always, drop a like on this video if you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the latest videos as soon as they're uploaded. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Nihan Chalaya. See you next time.